Public Transportation Commission meeting for November the 13th to order at 4:05 p.m. Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Sorry, I didn't unmute myself.
No, yes, I think you did. Can you call the roll,
Commissioner
please?
Carter? Not present. Commissioners Kim?
Here.
Salitari? Commissioner
Here.
Cotter?
Here.
Commissioner James?
Here.
Commissioner Camp?
Here.
Commissioner Neely?
Here.
Commissioner Rollins?
Present.
Commissioner Samuels?
Here.
And Commissioner Sanders.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have enough. We do have a quorum. Will the other members on the call introduce themselves and the department that they are affiliated with? Name and department, please.
Chris Howard with St. Louis County Administration.
Okay, next.
Paul Hample, observing on behalf of County Executive Dr. Sam Page.
And that was the name again?
Paul Hample, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Chuck Stewart with Bi-State Development.
Tammy Fulbright with Bi-State Development.
Kevin Scott with Bi-State Development.
Ted Zimmerman with Bi-State Development.
Anyone
Golick,
else?
St. Louis County Transportation.
Okay,
Chris Howard representing the St. Louis County Council.
Paul Carter, County Department of Management and Budget.
could you go back over that one, that last one?
Paul Carter, I'm observing Division of Performance Management and Budget, St. Louis County.
Adam Spector, St. Louis County Department of Transportation.
And Chairman, I do see that Deborah Carter is on. Deborah, you available to hear us?
Deborah Carter signed in? Okay. Okay. Right to there. Has everybody introduced themselves and their departments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I see on your, this is Chuck Stewart from Bi-State. I see on this list a Lisa Burke and a Trennis Collins from Bi-State. They will not be attending these meetings.
Okay, Lisa was the
It was
first.
Lisa Burke and Trennis Collins.
Okay, we will take their names off the list.
All right.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next order of business is to approve the minutes of the previous month's meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the July 10th, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Move properly second. Are there any additions, corrections, or revisions to these meeting minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Are there any nays? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the September 11th, 2023 minutes?
Move.
Second.
Move properly second. Are there any questions, any additions, any deletions? Hearing none, all those, I'm sorry. Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Are there any extensions? Can I have a motion to approve the September 14th, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Moved properly second. Are there any deletions, additions, revisions to these minutes? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Are there any nays? Hearing, motion's approved. The next order of business would be the monthly reports from the various departments. County Council Office. Chris?
Good afternoon, everyone. As far as I know, I don't know why the budget bill was held. Your budget bill, Bi-State's budget bill was held last week. I expect it will probably move tomorrow. So I haven't received any other concerns or questions from council members to follow up with. Tammy and Talby have been very available, very willing to talk. So there's no problems that I'm aware of. So I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow, unless there are questions for me. And of course, the St. Louis County Council is in the process of reviewing the recommended budget, and they have to get that passed before the end of December.
So
Does anyone have any questions for Chris?
I have a question. Chris, I've sat through a couple of the county council meetings and heard a lot of commentary about transparency and who is reviewing the budget. How is the information that's talked about on these commission meetings on a monthly basis passed on to the county council members?
So of course they get the commission report every month, and then we have the council, each of their staff members, we have a call every Monday. And every Monday, especially when your budget is in front of us, I ask, are there any questions, anything that I can assist in relaying? And of course, Talby and Tammy make themselves available to the council members as well. So unless there is something from this commission where you want me to communicate that specifically to the council, I don't necessarily report back anything unless there are questions from your end or their end.
Okay, I just had concerns as a commission member that I was hearing lots of commentary about no one has seen these numbers or they haven't been reviewed. And so I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can communicate all of the information that's covered each month by the commission members and by state. I mean, I don't know if sending the minutes would help, but I hate to hear that when you sit on the commission and we attend all these meetings and then you get to the county council and there's tons of commentary about how no one has reviewed these numbers, what oversight is there. So I'm not sure what the answer is, but I'd like to see something improve that so we don't hear that commentary moving forward.
So when you say the commentary, you're not talking about the public forum, you're talking about council members.
Yes, I'm talking about council members. The public forum, they're going to say that anyway. Right. But council members, were saying had some of the same sentiments, and I just want to make sure that all the work we're doing as commission members is actually getting to our county council members.
Certainly, and if you guys want to send me the minutes, I'll forward that to them. When it comes to the budget, just so when the budget comes, when I know the budget is coming out and I know what's in it, or once that you all have passed your resolution, I send a memo to council detailing out in plain language, how each of the funds is allocated within the budget bill. What the fund balances are. Of course, Prop M doesn't really have a fund balance, it just it just passes through. But the other two generally have a fund balance, and that's communicated. I work with Paul to make sure that, the numbers are correct. Tammy sends me all kinds of information, PowerPoint. So the council members get a fair amount of information. I think part of the heartburn this time was the fact that it took 3 months to get a budget. And that was because the bi-state was negotiating with the county executive. And of course, the council members weren't included in that. And so I can't do anything about the fact that there's occasionally mistrust between the executive branch and the legislative branch.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, when Chris refers to sharing information with Paul regarding the budget, he's referring to Paul Kreidler. Just to let you know and make sure that's clear to you, sir.
Is there, to piggyback on Kim's response, is there anything that we can do as a commission different to, I know you said that we can send you a copy of the minutes. Would that help as opposed to them trying to get it off of the county website?
Well, it would, because unless they think to go and look at that, they're probably not thinking about it. And unless there's a specific request from you, the commission, I don't necessarily relay anything except, as I've already kind of detailed out in the memo to council, I do come budget time. But the idea that they're not getting the numbers, or the idea that they're not getting, Tammy and Talby do a very good job of communicating with the council members. I communicate with the council members every single Monday when I know your budget is going to hit, has hit, and is waiting to be passed, including today. I asked the council staff, are there any questions regarding bi-state?
And I'm sorry, this is Izzy. If you're not speaking, can you please mute? Just for recording. Thank you.
But I'm happy to relay any concerns or questions you have to the council. Anytime.
Well, let's see what we can do. And basically, let's make sure that going forward, that Chris gets a copy of the minutes. I mean, we can put him on our copy list and make sure that he gets it, and he can pass it on to the council members or county council when he sees fits or when he thinks there's an issue. Metro. Report from Metro.
Okay, this is Chuck Stewart. I assume that means me, and we're talking about the Metro Operations Report. In your booklet that you received from us, you have our workforce update for September 2023, and our performance update, I think, which is also through September. From a operations standpoint, performance, our ridership continues to improve overall. For the last couple of years since the downturn with the pandemic, ridership has improved about 6% a year. We see this year will be no different, maybe a little more than previous years. And as a result of that, we are trying to increase our workforce to accommodate that increase in ridership. So I want to dwell a little more on the workforce update. Actually, things are looking much better as it relates to hiring and retaining operators, whether they be bus, Coloride, or Metrolink. Our budget for Metro Bus is 635 operators. We are currently at 566, which is a market improvement from your September report that said 546. So 20 have been added since then. We continue to have our hiring events. We had one on the 2nd of October, and we made 98 offers at that event, 31 for Coloride, 64 for bus, and 3 mechanics. Last Saturday, there was an additional hiring event. We had 131 people to turn out at our Brentwood facility. We made offers to 59 bus operators, 46 van operators, and one mechanic at that. I don't seem to have my Metrolink numbers, but I think there were several Metrolink as well. So things are going well at this point. We are planning, we currently have in training 54 bus operators, and this is in addition to these offers that we've been making. 54 bus operators, 15 for Coloride, and 10 for Metrolink. And in our pipeline of applications that we have received that have not been processed yet, we have 136 applications for bus drivers and 63 for Coloride. So things are changing, the trends are changing. I think that our new contract with Local 788, the operators and mechanics, as well as our extension of our $5,000 sign-on bonus is having a significant impact on our ability to attract people and to retain. One of the things we've been fighting is retention over the past year or so. It's hard to get people in the door and keep them if you got people going out the door at the same time. We've managed to streamline that process, and we're having net gains of about, well, in October, we had a net gain of 20 bus operators. So as a result of that, we are contemplating some service changes. There will be a service change in November. We don't have enough consistency in this increase yet to start talking about expanding service. We are looking more at increasing frequencies and that type of thing in the service area that we currently cover. Part of that is that we cannot expand service unless we can expand Coloride as well. As you know, Coloride is the federal mandate is that Coloride service is provided within 3/4 miles of the fixed routes, being bus and Metrolink. And if we expand bus and Metrolink, we'd have to expand Coloride as well, and we just don't have the resources to do that at this time. But since we brought Coloride back within the confines of the fixed route system, its stats have improved as well. Where we at one point were having like 46, 47% denials on 50,000 rides, 47,000 rides. We are now at the point we're only doing about 25,000 rides per week, per month, and our denial rate is down to about 15%. So the people that are receiving Coloride service are receiving better service. We are in the process of starting contract negotiations with Local 788 on Coloride. Their contract expires in January, and we hope to get some meetings in before the end of the year and hopefully get that taken care of and in place before the contract expires, so that we could have the same kinds of results, the improvement in results as it relates to hiring and retention on the Coloride side as well. I think that is my operations report, including the Coloride section that's listed as number 8 on your agenda. And I would be very happy to address any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Stewart?
Just a quick question. I noted that bus ridership is down in Missouri.
I saw that in this quarter. I think the last report that we got indicated that it was actually up about, I think, 4 or 5%. I don't know what that exact downturn is. I just noticed that myself, Kim, and I will look into that and see if there was anything specific that occurred that caused that.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Mr. Stewart, when you get that, could you pass it on to
Absolutely.
To the rest of the board?
Absolutely.
I have one question. You got the bus service, Bi-State bus service.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Metrolink.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, and then there's a Metro bus service?
No,
I
No.
just saw a Metro bus and I was just
Metro
wondering.
Bus is one of the names we go by, Metro Bus, Metrolink, Colorado.
Okay, so the Metro bus does not run a regular uh, bus stop or bus schedule or bus route? Or
It
do they just go from station to station?
No, Metro Bus
Right.
Metro Bus is our bus system with routes all over the city and county.
Okay, I just saw a
Metrolink
different
has,
name on it.
excuse me?
I just saw a different name and I was just wondering. But like I just saw a bus with the Metro sticker and everything on it. And I was just wondering if that was anything different from the regular.
No.
Okay,
no.
that's all.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart?
Hey, Chuck, this is. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I noticed that Toby wasn't there, and so I don't know if you're the right person to ask this question about the cyber committee and the impact that the cyber attacks may have had that happened on October 2nd. Is someone going to go over that?
I'm not sure it's on our agenda, but yes, we have weathered through that situation, and we have had a post-incident review. We've set up a committee to look into exactly what happened and how we can prepare for the future to at least prevent that from happening again. As you know, with the cyber situation, the techniques are improving in terms of how to hack into systems. So we are trying to get in front of that and make sure that at least we don't commit any of the errors that may have been committed in the past as we move forward. So yes, that is a very much a part of our agenda going forward. So yes.
So this will be an ongoing committee?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And then in relation to that, I noticed that you had a pilot program set up to implement single card trains.
Yes.
And was that able to go off without a hitch, or did the cyber attack impact that?
Oh, no, that did not impact that. The cyber situation did not impact Metrolink at all. It did not.
Okay.
So we were able to do that. We've done it now for over 30 days. That pilot period is over, but we are continuing to do that as we analyze the results. And very soon we'll probably make an announcement as to what's next as it relates to that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This is Ed James again. I know I have one other question. You were saying that this month we were a plus on the higher retention.
Yep.
We hired more. Do we know the reason why drivers are leaving?
Yeah, we are very cognizant of that. A lot of it is just personal reasons. I think previously it may have been we weren't competitive in terms of wages, but as I just mentioned, we implemented a new contract for bus drivers and mechanics just a few months ago, and which included a ratification bonus of a 401k contribution. And since then, in the last few months, that's in June, I think, our turnover in bus drivers was something like 17. The last couple of months has been like 3. So things are really changing, I think, and a lot of it has to do with our compensation changes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right.
Security, Kevin Scott.
I don't see Captain Kelling on, so I'll go ahead and take this. First and foremost, we really don't have anything significant to report. I did want to touch on a couple of things. First and foremost, early last week, there was a news report by several agencies or several news affiliates that reported at first a shooting and then a stabbing on Metrolink. This was erroneous reporting. That did not occur. There was an individual who was stabbed in South St. Louis City and boarded one of our buses with the stab wound. We have video of him boarding the bus. To get to Civic, in order to get to MetroLink, in order to get to the Central West End, to acquire medical attention. So that often happens to us. There was a call that came out at Central West End. Once the individual got off of the train with the wound, security and law enforcement detained him to try to figure out what was happening. I'm assuming that the news outlets heard that call dispatched by the police and then jumped to conclusions. But we put out a clear statement to the media rebutting that, and also to our internal teams here, but that absolutely did not occur on Metro Transit. Any questions about that? I'm sure some of you probably saw that reporting.
I can say that based on conversations with Bi-State, that we were able to get your report, the initial report, and then we were able to get your report. So I thank you and Bi-State for really getting that information, not only to the Bi-State committee, but also to the Public Transportation Commission. So I thank you for that.
Sure.
And I hope we're in the loop on all in the future.
Absolutely. So the second thing I'd like to just brief you on is the secured platform plan. As many of you know, Bi-State moving forward with providing the MetroLink platforms with high security gating, fencing, upgrades to our closed circuit television technology, including the complete reconfiguration of that system tied into the real-time camera center. Just as a summary of that project, the real-time camera center is done and has been operational since January. Package number one of the SPP project, which is a beta test in Illinois of Emerson Park, Jackie Joyner Kersey, Washington Park, and College. That construction contract has been awarded to Millstone Weber, and they are moving to begin those installations. It is anticipated that they'll begin at JJK in Washington Park, come back to Emerson Park down the road, and then conclude at College. The secured platform plan is divided into 6 packages. Package number 2, which is cascading right behind package number 1, includes Delmar, Forest Park, Central West End, Cortex, Grand, Union Station, and Civic Center. We anticipate that project will be moved over the next 30 to 60 days to construction. We are working through some easement issues at Union Station, and we are also working on gate positioning and some easement issues at Central West End. So we anticipate that we will get those worked out fairly quickly. Are there any questions about that, other than the only thing that I would like to add to those comments about the platforms themselves is that secured platforms will obviously tie into the upgrade of our fare collection system as well. So all of these projects are moving and will have to marry together to make the gating systems autonomous. Any questions on secure platforms?
No,
And
sir.
then I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
And then lastly, obviously, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you and your wife for your time. They came to see us and toured our facility, toured our camera center. We sat down with the chairman and walked him through the security studies that we have gone through or went through with WSP, where we began this process in 2018 and where we sit today. So again, I want to say thank you for coming in and taking the time to and having the interest to learn about our program and meeting the good people that work here. And again, I want to continually extend that invitation to anybody else on the commission who would like to come in and learn more about security on Metro Transit.
I would suggest that anybody who has an interest in the security of MetroLink should go see that presentation. I mean, they almost showed me my grass was not cut in my backyard. I mean, they can pinpoint areas, and some of the stories that they have related to me and my wife is fascinating. It doesn't seem real, but once you see the operation in action, you would really, really appreciate the security measures that Bi-State is going through just to make the ridership safer. And I think my wife and I both comment was, it's a best kept secret that needs to be unkept. It really needs to be seen by more Joe public, and maybe not all of it, but just something to show them that Bi-State is doing a fantastic job in updating security on the platforms and on the trains and buses. So thank you again for that tour, Kevin.
And thank you. And then lastly, our Q3 MetroLink incident report should be released shortly. Please keep in mind that those numbers come from the 3 major police organizations that we contract with. And that report has to be married together by our analyst, and that is almost complete. So we'll be releasing those numbers. I don't know what they are specifically, but when we have them, when the report's done, I will send that information out to the commission. And that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Kevin? Okay, not hearing none. Finance, Tammy Fulbright.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I'll walk you through the September financial statements, and I'll start out with revenue. So you'll see passenger revenue is unfavorable by 1.2 million. So I think Chuck mentioned this early on. So we're looking into that to see what might be causing the ridership decline there and the passenger revenue. We're looking into that. So we'll have more to come at the next meeting. Then also on sales tax, I just want to hit on the big items. So you notice that the sales tax report wasn't in your report or your book this month. We hope to have it when the budget is approved, and that will help us to true up these numbers on sales tax too. For the most part, we're accruing for some of our sales taxes until the budget's approved. All the funds don't flow through to the trustee, so we'll have more to come on that next time too. What you can see though is that we're up slightly on the city and down on the county by 9 million, but we'll have better numbers for you next month. The other item I wanted to mention in the revenue section is the federal funding. So this year, this item is going to look a little bit unusual too, and that's mainly because we brought our federal funds in last year. We brought all of our COVID relief money in. So what you're going to see this year is our budget and our comparison to actual. So that won't quite keep up, but we'll keep you up to date on how that's impacting our financials. And then the one other item in revenue that I want to touch on is interest income, because as you can see there, we're coming in better than budget by about 2.4 million. So all that ends revenue at 80.8 million. When we look into expenses, you'll see the wages and benefits line item, and you'll see that we're running unfavorable by about 1.4 million. And that's primarily due to the payouts that we did regarding our union contracts. So the $3,000 that Chuck mentioned earlier too. So this is just a timing issue that will help. We'll see that catch up as we move on through the year. Some other items that we're running under on are services at 2.1 million and materials and supplies at 1.1. But overall, through September, we're breaking even with about 100,000 in income. So we will have better numbers at the next meeting, so we can get into more depth there. But I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Tammy at this point?
Tammy, quick question. How does you're 5 months into your fiscal year. So how does the lack of passage of the county appropriation impact your budget? Where are those operating funds coming from to make up for that?
So what we have to do is we really borrow from our capital funds to cover our operating expenses during that time.
So is there any ramifications in doing that?
I mean, yes, I mean, it's not good for us to be into our capital money. It impacts, it can impact projects, and if we can move forward in those, it impacts us from our debt also for our bonds, because we have to, the way our bonds are, how we issued our bonds and refunded our bonds was that we have to set aside our principal and interest, so ahead of time, 6 months in advance. So we do that in October and April. So we have to do that. We had to do that now. So we're also borrowing our capital funds for that purpose too. So it does make it a lot more difficult for us managing our money. It impacts, money we can make in interest on those funds. And so how that impacts everybody else is that then those funds we have to get those funds elsewhere. So we have to ask for more money in our budget when we're asking for it next year.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Tammy for finance? Thank you very much. You look at numbers and I mean, I can see you adjust them. It's a chore, but thank you for your input. Thank you.
Sure.
Marketing, Ted Zimmerman.
Good afternoon. So the packets that you've been sent for September that show the September and the August pieces, I'm gonna just kind of give some highlights there. So starting with the August sentiments, over half of the media was positive, and we had about $4.9 million in publicity value. What that really means is that if we would have to go out and buy that kind of media, it would cost us about $4.9 million. Some of the good news stories that were coming through this were the new contract with the great incentives that were there. We still had some spillover from Secretary of Transportation from his visit, and then also the big federal dollars that were awarded to Metro Transit for flood and also for the new train cars. When we look at the September sentiments, we moved more in line with what we experience heading into fall and winter, just on a 12-month rolling that we look at, which is on the second page in the bottom of the last tab that you have there. In August, we were promoting the new mobile option for our ColorRide customers. There were some public safety team members that were recognized for outstanding security performance awards. The SPP updates. We also, at that point in time, were doing engagement with university students that were returning to campus, including some training sessions that were for international students. And then obviously we continue our efforts to promote our hiring events too. When you look at our transit app usage, that continues to grow month over month, year over year. So we see positive growth there. During September, the engagement team was out asking customers what they want to see in future enhancements for our information kiosks that are located on the Metrolink platforms and transit centers. Many of those information kiosks are going to be relocated to the front of the entrances of our SPP gating system that will be coming into fruition soon. And then we're continuing with our station activation and engagement events, transit training for immigrants and for refugees, and then also making sure that, the recognition for team members in the community through like the Explore St. Louis Hospitality Heroes and annual meeting program. And then can't forget this one, hiring events. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. That's the end of my report.
Anyone has any questions? I have a couple. I noticed that you did have a lot of activities through the month. My problem is I look at the news on TV and I try to read the newspaper online. I don't see the scheduling of these events, so the only time that I find out about them is through your report. How are we getting this word out to the public so that they know to show up and getting the word to us? So maybe we would like to also engage in, especially this one about the one where you go to each of the vendors or whatever. We had a breakfast tour or something to do with the eggs, where you went to a restaurant.
Oh, so that is actually a part of Destination Deals.
Yeah.
So that is a program called, it's basically similar to a Show Your Pass and Save. So what we do is we highlight different organizations, businesses that are along Metro Transit routes, and we do that through social media primarily with our customers. So it's not necessarily that we're hosting an event at that business, but we're just highlighting that you can show your pass there and save 10% or, get so much off of a t-shirt or whatever.
Okay, I think that's the concern. We don't hear about them until till the meeting where you report on them.
Sure. But
And I
I'll
think,
make sure that like as we're having events, I'll make sure that we include you all in those invitations as well.
I appreciate that. I'm telling my age, but I also get the AARP magazine,
Yeah.
and they are looking for a bus stop to renovate as part of their annual project or something. And do they go through you or do they go through the city in order to choose these sites?
Well, actually, that's a great program that Kim Sella and Citizens for Modern Transit started. So part of the transformation programs that she'll be able to talk about in a second when I think we get to commission member reports. So she'll cover that one for sure. But yeah, that's an exciting new program as well. So it's cool stuff that they're doing.
Okay. Any other questions for marketing?
Yes, I had one question.
Sure.
You mentioned having programs or information for immigrants or migrants. I can't remember exactly which terminology you use. My question is whether or not you advertise or provide information in language other than English.
Limited English proficiency. And so when you go to our websites are very much using Google Translate from that perspective. We also partner with International Institute to provide some of this information as well and doing some of those translation services. If people call into our call center and we're working on a program where you can actually have a card that we have all the phone numbers that we would need in order to be able to talk to you in a language that is best suited for you. So those are programs that are continuing to grow and evolve, but we do those. And then also through our University Pass programs, UMSL, University of Missouri St. Louis, is growing in its foreign-born population as far as students coming to the campus. So we literally will go out there and we show them how to use Transit app and how to navigate using the transit system to go to the grocery store. It's, maybe it's at Brentwood Promenade or somewhere, but we work through those pieces. If you know of individuals that would be of benefit for this kind of a service, please reach out to us and we'll make sure that they get them scheduled.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for marketing? Okay, we kind of touched on Call a Ride in Mr. Stewart's presentation. Department of Transportation, Public Works. Adam or Ray?
We don't have anything to report at this time,
Okay.
unless anyone has
Thank
any
you, sir.
questions for us.
Any questions for the Transportation and Public Works? I guess at a future meeting, maybe if you can tell, just explain how that relates to this. I know it's all connected, but if you can just get some short report on how it relates to this commission and other commissions or committees in St. Louis County. Appreciate it.
Okay, sure.
Okay. At this point, we do not have any commissioner members report, but what we want to do going forward is that if a commissioner or a board member has a suggested topic that they would like to hear or like to have discussed at a future meeting, if you can provide that topic to Izzy, then we can get it to the right hands, either in St. Louis County or in Bi-State, and it can be discussed at a future meeting. But at this meeting, we have no commissioners report, and that will be changed to suggested members reports. Commissioners business, we had none this meeting. The same with new business, old business. We will not have any of that information at this meeting. So, any questions? Any comments?
Commissioner
Yes.
James?
Yes.
This is Deborah. I do have a comment. You and I had a conversation about my concerns with the minutes. And while I decided not to make any comments during this meeting, if they're now going to be submitted to council, I think the content of those minutes is something that we should think about giving greater scrutiny to before they're submitted to council.
Well,
And maybe I'm the only one who feels that way. If I am, then I'll let it go. But
as you and I have discussed, what are we going to do? We're going to scrutinize the minutes because basically this is our picture to the public and picture to anybody who looks and try to figure out what this commission or committee is doing. So going forward, the minutes will be a little bit scrutinized. They will be reviewed. They will be corrected. They will be put into a format that we are concerned with or we are comfortable with. And I also believe that at this point, that legal is also in the mix in order to review the contents and make sure that we're not speaking out of turn. So I would say going forward with the minutes that we know are going to be submitted to the county council for one, but they're also being posted on the county website. So that means that anybody who is interested in any of the committees or commissions that are under the scrutiny of St. Louis County, they will be able to view them and also be able to, let's say, judge and see how good we're doing, how bad we're doing, or if we're doing anything. So we are going to take a little closer look at the minutes before they actually post it to the website. And I think there is a section on there or a spot on there where the chairman of this commission has to sign off on them. And if I'm not comfortable, they won't go out until I will sign off on them. So going forward, I think we have discussed it. We have we will put things in place to make sure that we are comfortable with them as a commission and that we are not, we will not be held up for scrutiny when they go out to the public or when they go to the county council.
thank you.
Any other comments?
So next meeting, could we have an update on the new investment in scheduling, the phone system, and the ADA consultant that came out in one of your releases, Chuck?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Now, Chuck, that will be under new business next month.
Okay, well,
So-
I was considering, okay, we can do that. I was just
Yeah.
gonna make it a part of the Colorado report, but fine.
Well, either way, you can make it as part of the call, right? But if you mention it and Kim is satisfied with that, with the answer and everything, it will go away. But we want to make sure that concerns like this will be addressed going down in the future.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I apologize. This is Mr. Roach. I apologize for coming in slightly late. But yes, a couple of those updates on Colorado I think would be proper for Chuck to just elicit right now, if you would allow. Because I think it's important just to get on the record, some of those issues that I know Chuck and his team are working on. Would that be acceptable to you?
I have no problem.
Thank
Okay,
you.
very
Mr.
good.
Chair, Mr. Chair,
Very
Mr.
good.
Chair.
In
Yes.
that case,
this is Jen Frank. I would suggest, since you're already well past that agenda item, that you, wait until the next meeting. Because the public would know that you're taking that up again if they've left the meeting, because you've gotten through everything except announcing the date of the next meeting.
Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Stewart, would that be acceptable?
we are fine with either way you want to do it. Absolutely.
Okay.
I want to be responsive. I certainly sympathize with Ms. Franks, and I think we could do both. Just very briefly talk about it now, And I just want to be sure that we're updating you on those three commitments that we made, because they will be talked about in public, and we could go through more detail again on the agenda. These are well publicized and public, and I don't want the commission to not think that we have not briefed them. So I apologize for not jumping in earlier on the agenda. But I do think that it's important that we just let everybody know what we're doing with those three items. And I respectfully I understand Genevieve's, Ms. Frank's concern, legitimate, but I think in the interest of the public, it'd be, if we just take 5 minutes and let Chuck talk about them, I think that would be to the benefit of the public.
Ms. Frank?
Again, I would advise waiting till the next meeting, Mr. Chair.
Let's hold off to the next meeting. That would be one of the topics we would discuss then. I guess it's my problem. I thought that when Mr. Stewart gave his comments, he also included some call rides in there. And we can hold off to the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next meeting will be held on December the 11th at 4 o'clock. Ms. Franks and I are looking into having maybe a closed session. And if that comes to nutrition, we're going to start the meeting maybe a half hour early, but we will let you know in enough time to adjust your schedule. Any other business before this council tonight?
I have a question. I thought Kim was going to give a short report on Citizens for Mass Transit. We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Kim was basically saying that since she is a part of the commission, that she would not need to give a report. But again, I would check back with her, and if necessary, we will have that also at the next meeting, if she would like to give a report. But I was under the impression that this meeting, she did not want to give a separate report.
I think it's really, sorry, Linda, I think it's up to the commission. Since this was on Bi-State, I just told Ed that I didn't need to be on the agenda.
Oh, okay. I thought since we mentioned one of the programs you had just had from somebody's earlier report that you were going to say something about it.
Well, if it is, we can put, I would discuss it with her and we can pick it up at the next meeting. If that's okay with Kathy.
That's fine.
Okay. At this time, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion have it. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. See you next month.